Good afternoon, everyone. I hope you are doing well. So just before I start this video, I just wanted to let you know that I'm just kind of in the recovery stages. I'm not really in recovery yet of this cold, but my body is fighting a cold right now. So if my voice sounds funny or if I'm clearing my throat, that's why. If I look really tired, that's why. And also, I had a horrible eye infection where I lost part of my sight, and it's come back, but my eyes have been really bloodshot and red and stuff like that. So if I look a little bit off in this video, that's why. My husband was saying to me when I told him I wanted to make this video, he was like, why don't you just wait until you feel better? And I'm like, I know, but it's just such an important thing I wanted to get out before the new year. And that's not to say that if we don't set forth these intentions or these kind of, I don't want to say resolutions, but these plans before, January 1st, like it's not going to happen. That's silly. You're always manifesting and always, coming up with new things as we move, as we cycle, right? And once we find this works, then we go on to that, and oh, that didn't work, come back, that sort of thing. So I wanted to talk really quick about the differences between intentions and kind of manifesting. So intentions for me is like setting the mood for an experience. So if you get on your yoga mat and you wanted to set an intention of, I really want to bring the intention into really relaxing, meditative state, just to let go and release, right? You're setting a mood for that experience. So you're setting a focus into that experience. When we talk about manifesting, we talk about a bigger realm, like where we really have to, when we're manifesting, on one hand, we put a lot of effort into it and a lot of visualization into it, but on the other hand, it kind of comes naturally. It comes with this kind of natural flow, right? If we're coming from that heart-based decision. So the tricks about manifesting. So we're going to focus on manifesting. So we're going into this new year. We're going through this huge transition into 2020, right? So there's lots of energetic shifts happening, lots of reflecting on like what the last, 10 years and where we want to be in the next, 10 years or the next year, and where do we want to put our focus. So the manifesting part is where we start to make the plans. So when manifesting, a few things. So first off, we want to come from a heart-based decision. If we're manifesting something that's all in our head, and it's coming from a different place, we're going to be pushing up against something and trying to force it. And if you feel like you're trying to force something to happen, like you're like, okay, this is what I want, and you're really pushing through to force it, it's not meant to be. It's not coming from a heart-based decision. It's not coming from a place of like where your soul truly wants to be, where your dharma is. What is your dharma? Where do you want to go to live the life that not only you want, but to be able to share the gifts that you have with the world around you, right? So it's getting clear on like, where is this decision coming from? Is this decision, let's say it is to open up a business, let's say. So we have this decision, we want to open up a business. So we're going to open up a business that makes a lot of money. So this is the business we're going to choose. We're going to choose business A. Now we're going to choose business B is what we really want to do. So this is like me opening up a yoga business versus me working for some online corporation and making money from home. This is going to be my heart-based decision. This is where I feel like I thrive. This is where my gifts are. This is where I feel happy. This is out of like, well, this will make more money and this will be more, stability or whatever, right? So I'm going to make this decision. What's going to end up happening is you're going to be manifesting something that doesn't align with your soul's desires, with your heart-based desires, right? You're trying to align. So you're desiring, you know, a happy career, you're desiring money, you're desiring stability, but this decision brings that happiness. And this, even though this might be a lot of work, you're going to be able to manifest this more clearly because this is what you truly want, right? This is going to be somewhere where you're fighting. And even if you get to a place where you're making good money, you're not going to feel fulfilled because you're not doing what your heart is desiring. So it's getting clear with what your heart's desire is, and making sure that the decisions aren't made from this like intellectual, but more of like what feels right? Like what feels right. And we discard our connection to our intuition so much in this society. It's always like, well, what makes logical sense? Like, does it make logical sense to just like uproot your entire family and move to the coast? You know what I mean? And just like live like this hippy dippy crazy wild life that makes no sense. Or is it to like follow the work and the money? You know what I mean? So we're already in kind of like this matrix of this is how we're supposed to exist, right? We're supposed to live manifesting those things because that's success, right? That's what we're told is success. So in manifesting things, it's getting true with what your heart's desire is. Where are you truly happy? So really getting to know yourself and meditating on it and sitting with it. The other thing about manifesting, so one of the things that happen when people are manifesting, so it's like, let's say we have a desire and we're going for it. If we keep going with that intuition, like, okay, well, I'm going to take one step forward. Oh, look, this happened. So I'll take my move, for example. So when I came back from our trip, I hit this wall. We came here in the summer. And when I came back, I was on the ferry. I knew on the ferry, I started tearing up and I knew, I'm like, this is where we need to be. This is where we need to go. And I know it sounds crazy. I was talking to my husband. I know it sounds crazy, but my heart is telling me this is the place we need to go to. And so we were driving away and then we get home and then it kind of sits in, right? And like the universe starts talking a little bit and I get this random thing in the mail about like reassessing our house and stuff. And I was like, this is kind of odd. Where does this come from? Right? And then the next thing I know, I'm like, you know what? Like, maybe we should put our house on the market and just see what happens. And so it just kind of started to unravel, and it was a heart-based decision. It was like, this is what I want. And it was like, okay, well, let's put our house on the market. Let's see what happens. So it was like, okay, let's do that. Like, if it doesn't sell, it doesn't sell. Like, we're not losing anything, right? So it was like, put the house on the market. And then it was like, then it sold. And I was like, oh, okay. So what are we going to do? We're going to come here. We're going to like stay and just rent somewhere until we figure this out. Like, what are we going to do? And it was like, and then this house came up here and it was like, oh, okay. And they wanted to give us the house and rent it to us. And it was like, oh, okay. So we just kept taking the steps forward. But what I noticed with manifesting is that when I stayed almost tunnel vision of like, this is what I want, this is where I want to go, as soon as my head would start going into the what ifs, what if this doesn't work? What if this, crashes? What if blah, 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 right? All of these things. Or I started getting caught up in like people's opinions about what I was doing. Like, oh, they think I'm crazy. All these kinds of things. I started to pull myself out of that manifesting because I was up in my head now and I was up in like the logistic, and for sure there's logistical stuff. Absolutely. I mean, there's so much of that and you need to align those things, but those things will fall into place if you're coming from a heart-based decision. They just will. It's a lot of work and you got to keep going and you got to, call up the people and you got to rent, this and you got to put the money down here and you got to, but it will just come because you're coming from this place that is this heart-based decision of where your dharma is, where you're meant to be, right? Now, if I put my house on the market and it didn't sell, then to me that would have been a sign saying, it's not the right time or it's not the right place, right? So with manifesting, it's about listening to your intuition and not so much into your head of like, where am I really meant to go? The other thing about manifesting is to get clear on your vision. So really, and I'm doing this because this is your third eye, so this is your vision center, right? Getting really clear on what you want. So I'm not talking about like, I want to move here. I'm talking about, what does it smell like? What does it feel like? What does my life look like? How do I look? How would I function? What would I do? Where would I go? Like, every single thing. Keep your mind visualizing all the time. Oh, I'm gonna live here. I'm gonna wake up. I'm gonna go for a walk here. I'm gonna explore this and that, and I'm gonna. So you almost take yourself into this experience of being there. And so you're already there. And if you can imagine it, you can have it. I mean, everything that we have in this world was all imagined, right? I mean, this bookshelf that you guys are sitting on right now was somebody's idea. Like, it was like, oh, well, I think we need to build something to stick books on, you know. Everything in this entire world is something that somebody just imagined. So if you can imagine something, you can have it. You just have to create those steps. You have to come from a heart-based decision. You have to get super clear on what you want. Visualize exactly to the T of exactly what it looks like, smells like, feels like in every realm. Clears a way, and it will clear a path. And when you keep that vision and you hold true to that vision, then you're staying, like, you're listening outward for in like signs coming in, but you're almost like tunnel vision, but in a good way. Like, you're tunneling into what you want. So it doesn't matter what Blow Joe over here tells you. It doesn't matter that these people think you're crazy. It doesn't matter if, you know, the market is saying that, you know, your house isn't going to sell. You are doing this, and this is what you want, and that's what you're committed to. So you're moving through that. So that's part of manifesting. Those are big parts of manifesting. The other thing is realizing it's work. I mean, it's work. It is a lot of work and self-work to like figure out, you know, what you want and peeling back the layers. So when I say peeling back the layers and getting really truthful with what you want, it's not staying on the basis. Like this outer layer of this onion is like, I want money. So, okay, you want money, you need money. Well, but what's underneath that? Well, what's underneath that is I really want to feel stable and secure. And okay, so what's underneath that? Well, I want to do something that really makes me happy. And I want to give my gifts to the world, right? So it's like, okay, well, what's under that? Well, my gifts are blah, 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 blah. And it's like, okay, so that's really where you want to manifest from, is that place, not this outer place of like, I need money. You need to peel back the layers to get down to the core of what you really want, right? Like, for example, if you were in a relationship, it's like, I want to manifest the man of my dreams, right? And it's like, but really what's underneath that? Well, I don't want to be lonely. Okay, well, what's underneath that? Well, I want to feel happy and secure in myself. Okay, what's under that? It's like, oh, I actually really want to do this, and this, and build my confidence in that. Or I need to tear down that limiting belief to be able to feel secure and safe. Because you know what? The guy of your dreams will come if you're coming from that place of like, I don't need anybody. I'm happy and whole as I am. Whoever comes into my life can share my life with me. And I'm happy to share it, and I love sharing it. But I don't need that. We are all whole. We all have the tools inside of ourselves to manifest, to live the life we want, to have the relationships we want, to have all of these things. We just need to know that they're there and trust that. And we need to be able to visualize it. So, you know, if you were told your whole life to just settle, right? Like, you know, it's like, oh, just go do this, just go do that. Well, you don't know anything else. You feel like you're blocked, right? Like, I'm only capable of doing this, right? I'm in this box. I'm only capable of doing this. How can you see beyond that, right? So you have to break down those walls too to be able to manifest these things, because a lot of us have those limiting beliefs that keep us stuck. Maybe they're about that we're not good enough or strong enough or smart enough or educated enough to do it, or it's something even more than that. You know, it's like, well, I don't have the financial means. I'm not from a rich home. I'm not, you know, like all of these things that can keep us stuck. So we can't manifest anything when we are stuck in those limiting beliefs. It's when we break through and we start to see like we all have the capability of having all these things. We all have gifts to share. We are all super special, unique people on this planet that have our own unique story and our own unique way of sharing it, and the gifts that we have are not like anyone else. So when we start to realize that we are all gifted in our own way, stop comparing ourselves and breaking through that, we can start to manifest things beyond those limits. We're not in limits anymore. We can see and be like, wow. And I will tell you, my first moment I ever really, this was like a moment, was when I was here visiting on Sunshine Coast, and I went into a shop, a cute little shop, and I was chatting, and I was walking around going like, how do these people, like, how do the people do this? And I was saying to my husband, I'm like, people do this, like people figure out how to live here. How do people live here? How do people afford this? Blah, 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 like all this kind of conversation. And it was like, I thought to myself, I'm like, well, they figured it out. And I got talking with this guy who owned this shop. And I was saying to him, I'm like, how do you do it? Like, when did you live here? When did you move? How did you make it work? And he's like, well, we lived in Alberta, blah, blah, blah. We were from the coast, moved out there, and then wanted to come back. And I was like, how did you do it? And he just looked at me, he's like, we just did it. We just took the steps to do it. And now we're here. And I was like, pow. It was like, that's so simple. So you guys, manifesting is so simple. You just have to get clear on where your heart is. Follow your intuition. So if you're hitting a wall all the time, the path's not there. You're hitting up against something. So going with the heart-based decision, going with the intuition, being super clear on your vision, making sure that you don't let all these other people around you tell you what you can and cannot do. So breaking those, limiting beliefs and being like, no, you know what? I know that everyone else thinks this is crazy, but I'm going to do it anyway. And that is how you manifest. That is how you move forward. So in this new year, take some time to manifest. Take some time to set forth those intentions, to move through to this new year, and really being clear on what you want and going for it. Just going for it and taking those steps forward. All right? Okay. I'm going to start coughing soon. So I'm going to let you go, and it's like 17 minutes long. So, oh my gosh. All right. Well, Happy New Year, everybody. And I hope you have a wonderful day and New Year. And I will check in with you guys soon. All right. Have a good one.